Hello, my name is Katie Foster. I'm a Senior Associate in the Corporate Finance practice in London. I'm here today with Javier Amantegui, who is a partner in Madrid, and he co-heads the Latin American practice. Javier is going to share with us today a bit about the M&A market in Latin America, focusing on private equity and infrastructure fund investments. Javier, what in your view is the state of the private equity market in Latin America at the moment?
Well, it's a growing sector, private equity in Latin America still represents a small percentage of GDP in terms of total investment. And there are some countries which are more developed than others, like Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, and Chile. But the good thing about Latin America is that the region is going well, so the sector should follow that trend. And the macroeconomic perspective of Latin America is quite positive. The prospects for GDP growth for this year is around an average of 3.5%, and everybody hopes that Brazil recovers. Mexico is supposed to perform well, and Chile, Peru, and Colombia are going to grow above 5%. So you put that together with the fact of the good macroeconomic fundamentals of those countries, such as level of public deficit or inflation or unemployment, perspectives are good. And on top of that, in terms of foreign direct investment, it's been the only region in the world who has grown in 2012 with a 7% increase, while the rest of the world was suffered a decrease of foreign direct investment of around 14%. And particularly in terms of private equity, the LAPCA, the Latin American Venture Capital Association, scores 4 countries in the region at a very high average, like is Brazil, is Colombia, is Chile and Mexico. The score on the LAPCA rankings, which assess the feasibility of private equity in those countries, are at the level of Europe, the level of Spain in particular. And talking, so if the region grows, the private equity should be growing. As an example of that, in 2012, the level of fundraising is been good. It's the 22 new funds. In 2012, we had a record figure of 15 billion of capital raised in the region. In terms of transactions, in 2012, we had twice as more transactions than in 2009. We have good-sized deals in Latin America right now. In 2012, we have 10 deals of more than $150 million of invested amount, and we also had good exits and with a couple of nice IPOs in Brazil and Mexico, and the sort of deals you find in the place are mostly growth capital, but that is moving towards buyouts, and so the perspectives are good for the region. Is a growing business, and it's going well, and we have optimism on the trends of the market there.
Sounds positive. Yeah. So Brazil, I assume, is very, very active. What about, is it mainly Brazil?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, because almost everyone identifies private equity with Brazil in Latin America. It is true that this is a powerful country, and it represents half of the GDP in the region, and around 60% of the transactions happen there, followed by Mexico, Colombia, and Chile, and also around 60% of the funds are based in Brazil, where you can find mega funds like Vinci, like BTG, Pactual. All the big guys are in the country with 1.5 billion plus funds. And it is also true that it's been a hotspot for investments the last years. But now people are starting to look not only at Brazil, which continues to be an interesting place for investment, but also places like Colombia, Mexico, or Peru are calling the attention of the investors.
And on the infrastructure side of things, where are the infrastructure funds putting their money?
Well, on infrastructure, it's a bit of a challenge that part of the activity of professional investors there, because there are not many brownfield assets available on sale, and that might represent a challenge for fundraising. Although there is 30% of the money invested in by financial investors in the region are devoted to infrastructure funds, and there have been not that many transactions in 2012. But the outlook for infrastructure funds may improve, due to some good infrastructure assets being on sale by construction and infrastructure multinational companies. And this is, talking about challenges and perspectives for the region. It is true that private equity is still, as I said a few minutes ago, is still small, and the total deals in 2012 were 150. There is scarce and expensive acquisition finance, and there's this concentration in Brazil. But I think that again, and as an emerging market, which there are statistics who says that 20% of the deals happening in emerging markets are taking place in Latin America, and out of the investors who already have money in Latin America, around 60% of those believe that Latin America is going to offer more possibilities than other emerging markets.
Okay, and if you were advising, say, a private equity fund on making an investment into, say, Colombia, what would you flag up as the kind of top tips or key issues at the outset that they should take on board?
Well, I mean, probably there is fierce competition for good deals there, because the Colombian market is got a lot of interest by several investors, industrial and professional investors. So looking for the right size of deal is important. Acquisition finance, as I said, is difficult to find. So alternative financing sources should that is a topic that should be also taken into consideration. I will say that Colombia is safe in terms of legal structuring and also tax structuring. Repatriation of profits is an important issue, and maybe structuring the investment through Spain is one of the solutions for that market. And yeah, but Colombia is it ranks very well in the doing business score, and so yeah, I think that maybe in the consumer sectors is also a place where you can find activity in Colombia, and in general terms is I think it's one of the hottest places for investment right now. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks to you.